Hi, this is Patrick Durkin from the Wellness Enterprise, and I recently received a referral, and the woman told me the reason she bought a structured water product from us is because her friend Susan was such a diligent researcher, and Susan told her, "Hey, I've done my research on this. I think it would be good for you." And I got curious about Susan, and we recently got on the phone, and I asked her if she'd be willing to join me for a recording where we could tell people about her life, what kind of things she's had in her life that have brought her some pain or some misalignment from the life that she wants, and what that pain has caused her to look into and learn about, and what kind of information she's found, and what kind of research showed up. So Susan agreed to do that. She's on the line with me now. And Susan, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. I'm glad that I'm able to share my story. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. And part of what I love about this best is I don't know your story yet. So I know, like my intuition says talk with you and that your story will help others, but I'm going to get to hear it for the first time right along with everybody else. So let's just dive right into it. So what have you been dealing with in your life that caused you to want to start researching new things?
Okay, so I've had a lot of physical illness as well as emotional trauma, and I've been to Stanford and a lot of Western doctors, and I have a lot of metal in my body. I've had various treatments and surgeries and et cetera, et cetera. In between that, I always thought there's got to be something else I can do besides, cut out a bad joint and put some metal in there and, then do this treatment and then take this pill. And, they've almost killed me a few times. So I tried acupuncture, Reiki. So I kind of bounced back and forth between Eastern medicine and Western medicine, if that makes sense. And I did get some relief. And then, unfortunately, I had to get to a point where I had to have surgery. I didn't have a choice. So my physical health has really suffered, I'd say, the past 10, 15 years. I also had hepatitis C, which, a lot of people don't know about. It's a liver disease, and that caused a lot of problems. I was treated successfully with that. I no longer have that. But now I'm fighting Lyme, and I've been fighting Lyme, I guess, for many years undiagnosed. The Lyme diagnosis came last year, and that was when I really started to dig in and say, you know what, I've got to figure this out because my doctors aren't, And so I just really began to research as well as see functional medicine doctors, holistic natural healing, spend time at the beach so that I can get grounded. Just a lot of natural therapies. I was just like, I don't want to go down that, path again with Western medicine. And your research actually, my research on structured water came from listening to a web podcast from Wendy Myers, who actually has Lyme and heavy metals and, a lot of the same stuff I'm dealing with. And that's how I ended up hearing about you. And that's when I was first introduced to that. And so I researched it even more. And I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. My functional medicine doctor talks about vibration all the time. And he holds different supplements next to my body to see how my body responds. And I've never had that done. So then he was like, oh, this has a good vibration. Your body really will respond to this. And so my goal is to get a higher vibration to get rid of the lower vibration of the Lyme and the bacteria and all that, because they function at a very low vibration. So anyway, that's kind. I mean, I could probably go on and on, but
you're doing great.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at now, looking for my personal journey, my health in a natural way without pharmaceutical anything.
So a primary focus, if I'm hearing you right, of the way you go about approaching your health now is looking for ways that you can raise your vibration.
Exactly.
Nice. I like that too. We hear this concept like everything in the world is energy, and then trying to put that into practice and understand what it means is confusing because it's not what we've been taught, and it's certainly not what Western medicine is addressing. And
Not at
so
all.
we
Not
have
at
to
all.
kind of go out on a limb and find birds of a feather, I guess. Um, and so,
Yes.
what was the experience you had with the functional medicine practitioner? Was there actual structured water there, or was there a device, or just the image of it? How did you do that?
No, he doesn't have any structured water in his office or practice. He has a bunch of natural supplements. I don't want to say the name because
Sure.
it's a famous, very well sought after. A lot of practitioners use this particular company, and they're 100% GMO, not non-GMO, organic, high quality, expensive. He uses that, and so what he does, he tests my energy when I get there, and he has me on primarily right now gut healing, and I'm feeling a lot of intestinal inflammation from the Lyme. So that's really helped a lot because I've lost so much weight I don't want to lose any more. And so this is
Hmm.
helping me eat better and have an appetite, which I didn't have. So he holds the supplements of this company, that he uses for all of his patients, and he'll hold it next to my body, and he can tell which ones I respond to and which ones I don't. And also, I recently had the really bad flu that was going around. With it turned into an upper respiratory infection, and I got pretty sick with my lungs. And he did a laser acupuncture treatment that specifically addressed my lungs. And within one day, like I could take this huge deep breath, and I still was coughing up things. I don't want to get gross, but I was still coughing up things. My body was clearing itself out, but I could take this huge deep breath, what I had never been able to do before. And I was like, wow, like you know, 2 or 3 weeks of antibiotics and, still being sick. And then, I go to him and I'm like, I can breathe, but,
It's awesome.
yeah, he really, he understands. He's a functional medicine doctor, but he also, understands. He does energy healing, and he can read your aura and your bioresonance field and things like that. And, sometimes I'll come in and he's like, wow, it's really strong. You're feeling good, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And then other times I'll come in and he'll go, what's going on? Your energy field is really low. And he can just feel it when I'm laying on
that's
he
that's
has
really,
like a
yeah.
table. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great,
he can
Susan.
feel it.
I love the way you guys are he's leading you and you're understanding and feeling vibration. So how did water get into the mix? Like how did you know that there was water that could help with your vibration?
Well, 70% of our bodies are water. And one thing that always was in the back of my mind before I even began this journey, I think it was a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I watched a documentary on Nikola Tesla.
Hmm.
And then I started researching him with sound and different things, how different tones have different healing mechanisms. So that was kind of in the back of my mind about, one of the statements that he would say over and over and over again is everything in the earth and the universe has a vibration. Everything does. And I believe this man was brilliant, and I think he was very underrated, and we don't know a lot about him because of certain things, but I just think he was a brilliant inventor, and we have testament out today because of his technology. But that whole statement of everything has a vibration, I was like, wow, that makes so much sense because sometimes, and I'm very intuitive this way, I'm part of a church group, and sometimes I'll walk in and there'll be a group, whether they're talking or just sitting around, and immediately I'll feel this, and and nobody will even say anything to me. I can just feel it. So I just kind of avoid that group, and then I'll walk, and then there'll be another group, because there's a big lobby. There'll be another group of friends, whatever, and they're all talking and laughing, and I'll go over and I can feel that they're all like, not like they're enlightened, but they're all, giddy and laughing and just enjoying life and not stressed. There's no anxiety there. There's no negativity. And I can just feel it. And it brings my heart into harmony with how they feel. So I'm very empathetic. I think that way, intuitive, where, I've just, this past year, I'm avoiding certain people, even though some of them have been, some of my really good friends they're negative in general. Even if they say positive things, I can feel the negativity in them. And I feel like, I just don't want to be around that right now. I have to focus on my healing and my health. And so everything that, it might sound selfish, but things that make me feel good, I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to be around people that uplift me when I leave a lunch date with them. If I feel really good, I'm going to keep that relationship and keep nurturing it and, cultivating it, because the other friends that are really good friends that are not benefiting how I feel when I'll leave them and I'll be like, ugh, I just feel horrible. And I just like, ugh, So I'm learning that too.
You. Yeah, I think I follow you.
Yeah.
Get the flavor of that. And so you had this experience with the Tesla research and sound vibrations, and then what happened next?
After a lot of research, I felt in my heart that the whole learning process of vibration and, the Tesla, everything, I had to apply that to myself. So I learned about the VitaJewel, researched that as well, and decided that would be a really good fit to my current protocol. I was doing a lot of different things, but the only thing I changed with my water was my water filter in my kitchen. Now I had to change the vibration of the water. So that's what, just continued research led me to believe, and I know in my heart, that this structured water, gem water, is real. It's not, some snake oil thing. I totally believe in it 100%, and it is changing my vibration. And my doctor who's treating me was like, it's an excellent resource to have, and you got me thinking maybe I should have it around the office or whatever. But it is something that I know a year from now, my health is going to be completely different. I have this struggle now, but it is really helping me become stronger spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything. I really feel a lot stronger.
That's amazing. I love that we can get at the base issues in our lives. And, one of them that's just so simple is we're made of water. If we're drinking things like Coca-Cola or juices or coffees or those type of things, then we're made of that. And if we change it to living water, it's like a reboot for our operating system. And that reboot, to me, brings us back into alignment, which is why I think you get the impact of things in your body and your spirit. Like it's your whole being. I don't know about you, but for me, it feels so good to deal with things that deal with me as a whole being.
Yes. Yes, I totally get that. I totally get that.
Nice. So in terms of having a VitaJewel bottle in your life and using it, do you use it all the time? And what's that experience like for you?
I use it basically every day. But when my husband, who works from home one day and then he's home on the weekends, really isn't, I don't want to say supportive. I don't think he understands it, so I haven't really introduced it to him yet. He's already labeled me the food Nazi, so because I've changed the food so much to what I bring in the house. So he's coming along as far as natural healing and things, but he definitely doesn't agree with some of the natural things. So getting back to, do I use it every day? I wish I could use it every single day, but I think he would look at me like I was crazy because he's not in that space yet. I hope he gets there. But I drink it all the time when he's not here. I know I sound like a closet drinker, but
I love what you're bringing up. Yeah, I love what you're bringing up. It's really great because I encounter a lot of customers where the woman tends to be the leader on newer things, more intuitive, more connected to her inspiration, and often a man will be trained in traditional thinking. I'm sometimes referred to it as like a science mind, or sometimes they're really strong in mathematics or that type of thing. And they've succeeded in life by studying and accomplishing, and they get validated, and their identity gets wrapped with the idea that the things they learned in school have to be true for them
Yep.
to feel good about themselves. Does that make sense?
Yep. Oh, totally, totally, totally.
Yeah.
It's like you're preaching to the choir. I totally get that whole thing. Yeah.
I think it's a big choir, Susan. I think there are a lot. I think there are a lot of people out there, and that's what's so cool about all the feminine energy coming to the planet these days, and the way it's being embodied, and the way it's bringing forth change in the world. Is there's nothing wrong with being scientifically minded, and I'm not offering any judgment or criticism. And you're married to your husband, right? So you're choosing to have one behavior when he's home and a different one when he's not. So I think all there is to do is for those of us who have found a language of vibration and approaches to our health and well-being that are alternative, that we just do it with love in our hearts because we choose it for ourselves, and that we don't have a position on whether anybody else does it with us or not. We just look for the people who are like us, who are looking for the information, and then we share it with them. That's the way I feel about it.
They have to be, yes, exactly. They have to be open to it, and at some point, I think he will be, but he's not there yet. But I do have a few friends that have health struggles, and I know one gal at Lyme, and I actually had a conversation with her last week and told her about it and sent her the link. So I don't know if she ordered it or not, but there are definitely people open to it, because it's not even a matter of like if you have physical sickness or whatever, but if you're a high-stressed mom and you have, kids you're running around with, and you have that stress and anxiety, it's going to calm you down. It really does. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, maybe because I was such a mess for so long. Now I'm really like absorbing it like a sponge. So I can feel the serenity in it, and, I pray over it. Sometimes I actually will play, healing tones next to the water and let it sit there for a while, and then I drink that. I'm serious. I do.
I love it.
And, it's like people are like, really? But I know it's picking up on that vibration, and then it's boosting it even more. It's like an added shot. And then I'm drinking that. I feel so much more peaceful and calm and not so high strung and stressed. Things are all going to work out. I know they are. I know they are.
My journey has been, for the last 6+ years, I've just been completely immersed in those type of experiences. And I've had so many changes, like the opening of my third eye and expansion and creativity. But one of the experiences that I had in the last year, I would describe as an out-of-body experience. And why I would describe it as that is that even though I was like in a state between sleep, awake, and meditation, I had awareness, but I wasn't like moving around. I wasn't consciously doing stuff. And what I felt was I felt a sense of unconditional love, the likes of which I've never experienced any other time in my life. And it just felt so deep that I just knew that came from a different place than my regular life. And so as I keep diving into this stuff and experimenting with it, I keep finding more things like that are making my life better, more full, more fulfilling. So I love that you found the peace and calm, and that you've only been drinking structured water for a couple of weeks, right?
Maybe about a month. I would say a month. But,
Yeah.
I don't do it on the weekends. I'm kind of a closet drinker. But
Right, closet drinker for a month. And yet you've already found a sense of peace and calm and a vision that a year from now your health will be in really great shape. I think that's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I know it's going to be. I mean, I even have like this vision board, and one of the things that it says on it is I'm healthy and filled with energy. It has a smiley face, and it has a picture of me when I was really feeling good on the beach. I'm smiling, and I'm happy, and I'm like, you know what? That's going to be restored to me. I know that, and I'm focusing on that. I'm visualizing it, and I believe it's all part of the whole vibration thing about really putting your attention and your intention on things that you want, and you will attract that too.
Well, I think that's a wonderful vision and a wonderful place to stop. Thank you so much for sharing your vision with us and for sharing your research and your experience. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I thank you for such an awesome company, and I'm definitely, talking you up with other friends that are willing to listen and open and ready to receive something like this. You have to be ready for it. You have to want it and understand it. And, it's just amazing. I'm sharing it with whoever I can.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that too.